there's always going to be profits. There's always going to be problems. By the time a year and a half ago, I just kept on losing money. I was like losing $9,000 a month. When you bleed $9,000 a month, it hurts. I've run into so many problems. Right now, we're doing some development right now, and there's issues and problems like everywhere. There was everything right in that building. Right, there's prostitutes. There was a drug pusher there. I should have put cameras there. There's a house party that's like it actually got rid of all the good tenants. Right, so be cognizant of what you're getting into. You're buying a business, right? And when you buy a business, you're buying all the problems too.
Problems are what? Problems are profits!
What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here, and if you guys haven't been paying attention, we recently launched a new podcast, the Problems or Profits podcast, and today we've got a quick little clip, the best of a recent interview we did with Kasey Wong, and in today's video, we sit down with Kasey and just talk about, growing up, some of the most expensive things he's broken. He talks about playing, I believe, mini sticks and breaking his mom's chandelier. This is actually like too funny because I literally did the same thing, and we actually, I'm pretty sure I had to replace it 3 times. But we really love playing mini sticks, and it sounds like Kasey did as well. And he also talks about some of the challenges in business, and at one point in time losing up to $9,000 a month, and what that sort of burn does to your business and your perspective and just kind of all that stuff. So the Problems and Profits podcast is really about sharing the behind the scenes when it comes to building that business, building that real estate empire, or just building the lifestyle or the financial independence, the version that you want. That's really what Problems and Profits is all about. I hope you guys enjoy these clips from Kasey Wong's interview. If you want to go see the full thing, go to wherever you listen to podcasts. Please download all the episodes. And if you watch this right away, I would love it if you guys would subscribe, leave us a 5-star rating and written review. And yeah, hope you enjoy it.
Kasey, what's the most expensive thing you've ever broken?
That I've broken? Wow. Okay, that's a loaded question. I can start way back when I was a kid. When I was literally 10 years old, 10 or 11, my kid's age, I was playing hockey inside the house, and it's like you have these orange balls, these street ball for playing street ball hockey, right? I was learning how to flick the ball and all that. I flicked it up. I hit the chandelier. Okay, it was a crystal chandelier. My mom freaked out, right? But it shattered everywhere. So that was one time, and that's not the only time because I played again. I didn't learn my lesson, and I had my retainers. I had retainers. I had an underbite. It was terrible. I flicked it up, hit the ceiling, and then smashed my retainers. It was on the it was like literally a shot. It was like bang, $400. I was like, how do you explain that to your parents, right? So I'm not sure if it's problems or profits, right? But the thing is that we all go through that. Like we literally go through problems, and then it's how do you solve this, right? Like I have problems when I was a kid. It's like I broke the chandelier, broke the retainers, but you fess up to it, right? Like how do you explain that to your parents, right? You have to fess up. You say, okay, well, I'm sorry, it's not going to happen again. It happened again, but still, whatever you guys do is like, especially I can always relate to real estate or business in general, is that people don't want to hear lies, right? Your investors don't want to hear stories. They don't want to hear, oh, I did this or I did that and all that. No, it's we made a mistake. I made a mistake, right? Even for my kids, I tell them, hey, this is what I did, and they know the story. But I don't think both stories, but I've told one story. But always like don't hide things and just go. People will find out anyways. And you rather be transparent, because your investors, the people that you work with, they will appreciate that. So everything can be learned. Like you can learn everything. You can learn from your mistakes, and honestly, your investors will appreciate it and they'll come back. Your colleagues, the people that you work with, they'll understand that, you know what, you made a mistake. You fessed up and you say, okay, well, you know what, shit happens. I made a mistake. This is how I'm going to correct it, right? So hopefully you guys can take that and sort of, use that as sort of training grounds, because everybody needs that.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Kasey. And I think that, there's a misconception among a lot of, aspiring real estate investors or aspiring entrepreneurs where they think that you solve one problem and then you're kind of done. We're actually like, it's really just, we're solving a series of problems, right? And like yourself, whenever we get almost kind of too comfortable, we go searching for a new challenge or a new problem,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, again, like, hey, multifamily, I can do this paint by numbers because, you know, you've been doing it for decades now. And it's like,
Yeah.
hey, it's time to, the market's kind of pushing us in a direction, but also I assume that you guys were probably also a little hungry for a new challenge or a new problem to solve.
Yeah. Hey, so when you talked about that, so new problems. These are problems. I don't want to go too deep into it, but buying a piece of land, I had a lender try to steal it. We're still finding a new lender. So Jed's dealing with that. So one of these locations, a lender lent, and he's looking at stealing the property. One of these locations, right? One of these, my existing properties, the back piece of land I sold to another developer, and we just gave the court documents to her, and we're taking her to court because she's supposed to do sort of fix-ups on my piece of land. So they're supposed to do the asphalt and things like that. Yeah, it was agreed upon. It was on the APS, and I was like, we took it to our lawyer at Miller Thompson, and he goes, you know what, this is pretty it's pretty compelling. It's there. Like, you shouldn't have a problem winning. So then we said, you know, it's like Miller Thompson, they're big law company, law firm, and you know, we're probably going to win on that, and then hopefully we can get our legal costs paid. Usually you don't get full legal costs, but 60 or 70%, but we still have to do it, right? Yeah, so every step that we take, it seems like there's other problems. So lenders taking, I have developers not paying, I have another person trying to sue us. So there's two legal, it's just crazy. What else? We're trying to raise money for some of these projects. Some investors bail, some investors come in. So we're trying to, you know, bridge these, or it's true. You solve one problem and it seems like it hits you all over. So we have a whole bunch of stuff coming. It's like, I'm dealing with issues. Jed is dealing with issues because she has to deal with the lawyers, and then we have you know what, you have to be very, very organized when you're dealing with property, with dealing with legal matter. You have to have somebody who's great at that, and Jed's great. So she's very organized. She's an accountant, and she wrote the she should have been a lawyer as well. Like, she actually wrote the bar, or not the bar, or the entrance exam, the LSAT. She actually scored about, I think, 90% or something. So yeah, she's a smart girl. But when you solve one problem, you think it's done. You buy something else, and bang, there's like 10 problems, right? So yeah, it's fun, right? Crazy.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, it definitely seems like you've, you know, going back to that dock analogy, you know, docked your ship at a new subset of problems, and now you're just learning how to field all of those problems. And, you know, you mentioned something about running your business, and you're almost like the QB of it in a way, where putting out all of these fires and coordinating everything. So your job is really to field all of those problems and address all of them as you go through. So with all of these new problems arising, like, what helps you actually get through that when you're slammed with these 10 new problems? Because for the audience listening in, you know, some new investors coming up might be slammed with a subset of new problems as they enter new markets, as they enter new types of buildings that they're investing in. So you going into this new area or niche, like, how do you field all of those problems coming in?
You have to get, like, you have to have good people, like the administrators, a lawyer, good lawyers, and things like that. And it's crucial because you can't do it all. What I normally do is I still oversee the buildings. A lot of we hired a good paralegal, so I can't get to like all the hearings and stuff. And we were having issues before. You know, I had issues with my administrators. So I went through, like, I think it was like 5 administrators until I got this really good administrator. But yeah, you have to get things off your plate, but not, if you do get things off your plate, know that, I hate to say this, but your employees are still your employees, right? Sometimes sometimes things will fall through the cracks or whatever, right? But you still have to watch over them, making sure that, things are done properly. Like one of my previous administrator, she didn't. And leases wasn't done properly or wasn't even done at all, things like that. And for let's say my Elgin property, I lost tenants, right? This is a year ago, and then I had a scramble. So make sure that if you offload something to somebody else, you have checks and balances. You have to oversee them. You have to make sure that they're meeting the deadlines or doing the work properly, because it's really going to bite you. Because to be honest with you, most employees don't want to hustle, right? I'm not saying the ones that I have now, the ones I have now are great, but they're not you, right? So as an entrepreneur, they're going to affect your bottom line, right? And your bottom line, you eat last, okay? So your middle line, everybody's taking something off of that. You earn, let's say, $1 million, bang, 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 bang. Somebody's taking that salary, expenses, contractors, flooring, painting, whatever. By the time you're done, is it even positive, right? So yes, it's good to have these people do the work, but you have to oversee it. Like I had contractors that wouldn't finish the work properly, and then when they come in, the tenant says, okay, this is not done or that's not done, and then have to go back and get the contractor there and then have to pay again because I didn't oversee that. So entrepreneurs, if you're going to be lazy, you're going to get screwed. Okay? If you're being lazy, people will pick your pocket, and your building won't be performing at its best, right? So if you're in this business, I was working for the bank, and so TD Asset Management, CIBC Asset Management, Towers Perrin. Then I moved over to Brookfield, to Cap REIT, and then to two sort of boutique property management companies that I did condos for. Whenever I was working there, I was working above and beyond. So I worked 40 hours on the Friday nights, on the Saturdays and the Sundays. I was working, right? I would go and see the units, the renovated units. I'll collect the cash. I'll do this. I'll do that, right? So don't be lazy. So the thing is that if you're hardworking for just 5 or 10 years, this type of business will pay for itself. You understand? Some of your I know you guys want to have that profit. You want to have that great income. It's not overnight. 5 years, 10 years, you guys will see the fruits of your labor. We started in 2003. Now it's 2021. I'm 45 years old. I started when I was 28 years old. So it took me this long. We rented this house that we were living near Yonge and Finch, Yonge and Steeles area. I used to rent my basement out. I had basement tenants, right? And they were loud, right? I hated that, right? I'd sleep with earplugs, and literally it took us that long to save up, to make sure that we can build a good foundation, build a house, and to be able to get there, right? But it's not overnight. I'm not very flashy. I don't drive a nice car, but you guys can all have you can have that, right? But it does take that time. Just don't be lazy. And after that 5 or 10 years, seriously, if you get started in real estate, you guys will reap the benefits. You guys have a great head start. So I sound like a father.
No, I appreciate it, Kasey. That was amazing. And I just wanted to reiterate that at the end of the day, as the entrepreneur, as the active investor, sole responsibility, ultimate responsibility does lie with us, right? No one's going to care more about your money or your investment than you will. So it's really important that people understand that day one. Yeah, this was amazing, Kasey. I really appreciate you taking the time to just chat with us. And before we wrap up, I do want to explore one last problem that I think that you're encountering or that you will encounter in the near future. And so,
well, I hope you guys enjoyed that clip of Kasey. That's really just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to that interview. If you want to listen to the full thing, jump over. We've got links in the video description down below. Listen on whatever podcasting platform you want. But we're really hoping you guys enjoyed the Problems and Profits podcast, and we'll see you in the next video.
Problems are what? Problems are profits!